My name is Jessie Ace. I'm part of a group of enabled warriors that you've probably never heard of. We're fighting back against our invisible illness and taking the dis out of disability. We don't give sympathy to our symptoms. They enable us to be the warrior that we are. If you ask doctors and nurses, they'd say what we're doing is impossible. But pushing the limits of our conditions is something that we have to break through every single day. See, we push the limits. We are mentally strong, and we can do anything. The question is, how far can we push those limits? This podcast will give you the answers. I'm Jessie Ace, and this is the Disabled to Enabled podcast. B-Elixir is caffeine-free, plant-powered, and packed with brain-loving adaptogens to naturally support focus and brain health. Featuring royal jelly, ginkgo biloba, and bacopa monnieri, B-Elixir is essential for anyone looking to hunker down and get things done. If for any reason you are unhappy with their products, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So go and click the link in the show notes and invest in your health today. Enabled Warriors, the next guest on our show has, in his words, a wonky voice after he was diagnosed with Friedrichs ataxia at age 11. But that has not stopped him. He has a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in mental health counselling. He is also a regular columnist for Friedrichs Ataxia News Today, where he shares his journey through physical therapy and living day-to-day with Friedrichs ataxia, as well as working as the Associate Director of Columns at Bio News Services. He is fantastic, and I am honoured that he's here with me today. Enabled Warriors, please help me in welcoming the fabulous Matt Lafleur, everybody. Hey!
Hey, great.
How you doing, Matt? Are you okay?
Yeah, great, thanks.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let's go into the first part of our interview. So this episode focuses on when you kind of started to get symptoms when you were really little, and then that later revealed a diagnosis. And then keep on listening, Enabled Warriors, to find out how today's guest then coped and thrived afterwards in episode 2, with some added questions from our Enabled Warriors Facebook group, if we have any. And keep on listening for episode 3 for today's guest's answers to the not so super quick secrets round. Okay, let's dive straight in to part 1. Tell us about your diagnosis at age 11, Matt. Like, what happened on that day of your diagnosis? Did you have any symptoms leading up to it at all?
Sure. Growing up, I was a very active kid. I was in every kind of sport you can imagine. But at around the time I was 10 or 11, my sports coaches would tell me that I'm getting behind all my classmates. So while everyone else is really good at like throwing the ball and kicking the ball and running, I was struggling to keep up with them. So I would practice by myself every day, and it wouldn't really improve any. So I didn't know what was wrong. One of my coaches pointed out to me that I had extremely flat feet. So we went and checked on them at a podiatrist, and we discovered that, yeah, I do have flat feet, but that wasn't the issue.
Oh.
The issue was that I walked a little off. So after test after test, they finally diagnosed me with Friedrichs ataxia.
Oh, right. So you were just 11 at the time. Like, that's super young to be diagnosed with something so big as well. Like,
Absolutely. And I didn't understand it at the time.
no.
In my head, I thought I could just take a pill or do a surgery and everything would be better. But reading about what Friedrichs is and how most people with FA end up in a wheelchair by the time they are in their late teens, I couldn't really comprehend that. That destroyed me.
God.
I couldn't see myself not being able to walk. So that
Yeah,
was a really hard pill to swallow.
I can imagine. And how did that kind of impact your parents as well? Because they must have been super scared.
My parents were absolutely destroyed by this. They were really heartbroken by it. They, in some ways blame themselves for having the gene to pass on, which
Yeah.
I totally do not blame them for, and I want to make that known to all parents with children with FA that are any disorder that you are the ones who gave us life. You're the ones who helped us be able to enjoy the world and thrive and survive.
Mhm.
And you're not. We don't blame you for whatever issues we may have to deal with.
Yeah.
So it really just hurt them to see me struggling to do things I was formerly able to do, like play sports and keep up with all of my other friends. They
Mm.
it hurt them to watch me struggle to keep up with them.
Yeah, and like, how did you kind of manage that? Because like when you're obviously at like 11, it's that age where you're about to go into being a teenager and things like that. Like, how did you kind of relate to your friends still, or did they drift away or something?
Well, I was a very bad person at adapting.
Oh, what
I,
way?
as a preteen, the one thing I wanted to do more than anything was to fit in with everyone else,
Oh yeah.
to blend in with the crowd. But suddenly I had this disorder that would that was affecting my dexterity and it made me clumsy pretty much.
Mm.
So, I could no longer just blend in. I always felt like I had a spotlight on me, whether I wanted that or not. And,
Okay.
I was not good at dealing with all of that at that time. Um, so it was just an ongoing battle of having to, I knew I was going to survive. I just didn't quite know how. Yeah.
Mm.
And it would take me a while to realize that. And for most of my life, I viewed FA as a stumbling block, as my way of not being able to reach as high as I want to reach. Only recently, with my job and with everything going on, that FA or Friedrichs seems to me to be not necessarily a roadblock or an impediment, but a part of who I am, a part of me that enables me to maybe be a little bit more empathetic than I otherwise would be, maybe to reach out to others a little more deeply than I would be able to without it.
Mm.
So
That's incredible.
that whole concept of changing what you thought was a great evil to something that, while still is not to be celebrated, can definitely be seen to have benefits.
Absolutely, yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about what Friedrich's ataxia actually is and what it's like to kind of have Matt's ataxia?
Absolutely.
Never mind Friedrich, like.
All right. Friedrichs, in general, it's neuromuscular. That means that it's it's the nerves in my body. So it's not bones. It's not the blood. It's not something necessarily wrong with my legs.
Mm,
It's the fact that the nerves do not communicate with my brain like they should. So
okay.
without that communication going, the muscles tend to atrophy and be of disuse. So that Matt's ataxia, I like the way you said that. It's all about frustration because my brain says that my legs and my arms and everything
Mm,
should be able to do A, B, and C. Should be able to do all of these everyday tasks. And when I'm unable to do that, or when I do them a little bit off kilter, it's it's really hurtful. It's really aggravating because
Imagine, yeah.
yeah, in my head, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to get up and go to the other room, but my body stops me, so that is an incredible amount of frustration.
Mm.
And it's kind of easy to see how in many cases that leads to negative thoughts about our own bodies. Um, I've I've been there, but you have to I think learn to be a little more compassionate toward your own body, um,
Definitely.
and acknowledge that my body is doing the best it can. You know, it has this thing FA that makes things more difficult for it, but that's the same with me. You know, I'm trying to do the best I can, even though FA is out there. So yeah, it's not about hating anything. It's about seeing the struggles you face and overcoming them.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think you've had such an interesting journey as well. So this course kind of started when you were about 11. So leading up to where you are now. Dare I ask how old you are? Am I allowed?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 34. And I am proud of that because
Awesome.
the first time I looked up the prognosis for FA, it said most people with FA die when they are 33.
Oh,
So I beat that odds.
you're gonna completely crush that. That, like, yeah, you're not just beating that, you're gonna absolutely crush it.
That
Don't
is
you
one of
worry.
my best plans.
Wow. So how did it feel to actually get that prognosis? Because
Um, that prognosis was killer. You know,
mm,
at the time I thought, oh, I'll need a surgery or a medicine, and
yeah.
I'll be able to walk again. But learning that it's a lot more serious than I thought was
Mm,
incredibly sobering. You know, it probably led to a deep depression in my teenage years because that's a lot to deal with.
yeah, I can imagine. Bless you. Well, I think you're amazing for carrying on going. I really do. So are you on any kind of treatments at the moment to kind of try to prolong life as much as possible? Or is it more of like a symptom management day to day kind of thing?
Um, Currently there are no official treatments for FA, so yeah, it's all symptomatic. Um, I have found like little things like FA causes you to cough, so I uh, do things that prevent me from coughing as much, which is really interesting in this time of coronavirus because
Mm.
coughing is a really scary thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, FA is there is no current treatments for it. It's all symptomatic, but we're getting closer, man. It's in the works.
It's in the works. That's good. So before we go into part two, what do you think would be your main tips for living well with FA?
Okay, I have two things that I want to mention. One is one, they both are things that I am still learning. But the first is not to adhere to a victim's mindset, to not see FA or whatever condition you may face or whatever thing is in your life that you wish weren't in there.
Mm,
Don't let that be your jailer. Don't let that be something that holds you back, keeps you from being the person you want to be. Because It is not that. You are so much more than whatever lies in your way. And you have to see that. And you can't let yourself be victimized by whatever is in your way.
I love that.
And the second thing I would say is always keep. I'm not very physical, so I do this in my head. But always keep a list of what you can do, what you are able to do, and who you are and what you love. And keep those as two separate lists and never confuse the two. Never think that who you are is defined by what you can do, because that is not the case at all. And that is a hard lesson, one I'm still trying to learn and master. But it is so true.
It so is. So is. That's amazing advice, Matt. Thank you so much. And Enabled Warriors, that's it for part one, episode one. It's all wrapped up. In the next episode, we will discuss the amazing things that Matt has done since his diagnosis. Now, look out, Warriors, for episode 2, because you will not want to miss this one. And if there's anything that we've spoken about so far that you can relate to, then please drop us a review, drop us a comment, let us know how you're feeling, what you're thinking. And remember to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening today. I'll see you in a little while, Matt.
Hey, Jesse.
Are you ready to fight back against your chronic illness and go from being disabled to enabled? Do you want to be an enabled warrior? Someone who's brave, strong, and confident, and someone who's ready to find a way to achieve awesome things despite a diagnosis? This is your invitation. Check out disabled2enabled.com for articles and reviews to find out how you can become enabled too. Subscribe to the podcast to always be in the know. If you think this podcast is better than sleeping in on a Sunday, tickle that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. And make sure to share this episode with someone who needs some inspiration. Want to ask your questions to future guests? Make sure to join our Enabled Warriors tribe on Facebook and look out for our question posts. Before we go, check out Disabled2Enabled on Instagram for posts that tell it like it is. And remember, warriors, stay enabled.